Outside a busy hospital, an old man sat quietly as people hurried past him. They thought he was someone who needed kindness. They never expected him to be the one showing it. An old homeless man sat quietly outside a busy hospital, watching people rush in and out, worry written on their faces, parking meters ticking down as their lives felt timed. One afternoon, a young girl handed him a bag full of quarters. He thanked her with a smile, but most stores would not accept coins. So he found another use. He began feeding the parking meters, quarter by quarter, so strangers wouldn't return to parking tickets on some of the hardest days. A doctor leaving the hospital noticed and asked what he was doing. After hearing the answer, the doctor smiled and handed him $300. "Kindness like this deserves good rest," he said. That night, the homeless man slept in a warm motel bed, reminded that good deeds and karma still exist. A father's final lesson began with two identical gifts, but years later, those gifts told a story only time could reveal. A clockmaker gives his twin sons identical watches. "Each holds the same hours," he says. "How you spend them will shape your life." Years pass. Peter uses his time well. He learns, starts a business, invests early, marries, and raises children. Every hour compounds into a meaningful life. George drifts through time. No goals, no motivation, changing jobs, chasing distractions, always saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." One day, they return for their father's funeral. Their watches still tick the same, but one shines with purpose, the other rusts with regret. Later, they find a note from their late father. "Time is the invisible currency of life, the one gift given equally. You can't save it or earn more of it. You can only choose how to spend it. So ask yourself, are you using it wisely?" Because the trouble is, we all think we have time. An old man walked into a sandwich shop, searching for something he couldn't remember. What looked ordinary to others was a quiet battle no one could see. An old man and his son walked into a sandwich shop. The clerk looked up and asked the old man what he would like. He smiled and said, "Oh, I'll have what I had yesterday." The clerk paused and looked confused. "Yesterday?" A few teenage boys in line chuckled. Not unkindly, just amused. The old man didn't react. His hearing had been fading for years, long before his memory began to follow. His son leaned in. "Tuna," he said softly. "A tuna sandwich on sourdough, please." The clerk nodded and made the sandwich. The line moved forward. The moment passed. By the door, the old man leaned close to his son, suddenly unsure. "Did I do okay?" His son smiled. "You did great, Dad." Outside, the old man held the brown paper bag carefully, as if it was something earned. He walked on, proud of himself, unaware of the laughter he never heard. Be kind. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. A long checkout line tested everyone's patience, but a young daughter was about to teach her mother a lesson she would never forget. Gwen stood in line at the grocery store, annoyed by the wait. Her daughter Emily stood beside her. In front of them, a young Latina mother struggled with her payment while her toddler cried. "Card not working," the woman said softly. "Baby need milk." Gwen rolled her eyes. "Why don't people learn English before coming here?" she muttered. Emily tugged her sleeve. "Mom, she needs help." "It's not our problem, sweetie," Gwen replied. The cashier tried again. Declined. The mother quietly removed her groceries and left the store in tears. That night, Emily asked, "Mom, if we needed help, would someone help us?" Gwen remembered when a stranger once helped her as a young mother. The next day, Gwen returned to the store and left a gift card for the mother. At home, she told Emily, "You were right. We should always treat people with kindness. Sometimes children teach us life lessons. Be kind, always." Sometimes the smallest actions in ordinary moments define the kind of person we become. One simple choice can quietly make the world a better place. At a public restroom, a sharply dressed older man in a business suit stood at the sink, drying his hands. Before leaving, he noticed water splashed across the counter and calmly wiped it clean with a paper towel. A young man beside him joked, "Have you been working here for long?" The older man smiled and replied, "You know, it's always nice to leave things better than how you found them." The simple words stayed with the young man long after that moment. The next morning, leaving his usual coffee shop, he noticed a crumpled napkin on the floor. Without thinking twice, he picked it up and dropped it into the trash on his way out. Kindness rarely comes through grand gestures. It lives in small choices, quiet respect, and simple acts of care. The world would be greater if each of us made a small effort to leave things better than we found them. Stay kind. A flower shop had one bouquet left when an elderly woman walked in. What happened next revealed a kindness no one expected. An elderly woman arrived at a flower shop just in time to buy the last bouquet. As she turned to leave, she noticed the young man standing quietly behind her, looking disappointed. She smiled and walked over to him. "You can have these." The young man looked surprised. "Oh, no, they're yours." She gently placed the bouquet in his hands. "I'll find flowers another day. Today, I think you need them more." As he thanked her, the florist smiled and asked, "Big day?" The young man's face lit up. "The biggest. After 3 years of waiting, my wife and I are finally bringing our adopted daughter home." The elderly woman's eyes filled with happy tears. "Oh, I'm so glad these flowers found the right family." Be kind, always. A small act of kindness can become someone's greatest memory. A broken car left a single father worried about what would happen next. But one unexpected act of kindness from a mechanic proved that some repairs are about more than just fixing things. Jordan, a single father, had his car break down on the way to work. Without it, he would lose his job and could not support his young daughter. Desperate, he brought it to a local mechanic shop. After inspecting it, the mechanic realized the repair cost was far more than Jordan could afford. "I guess I'm out of options," Jordan sighed. The mechanic noticed a photo of a little girl on the dashboard and said, "Take the loaner car. Pay me back when you can." Years later, the mechanic's shop struggled as large chain businesses took over the area. Then one morning, a line of trucks pulled into the parking lot. A sharply dressed man stepped out, holding the same old car key. It was Jordan. He had built a successful trucking company. "I never forgot who helped me when I was desperate," he said. Then he handed the mechanic a contract to service his entire fleet, saving the small shop from closing forever. One act of kindness can come back when you least expect it. She had very little herself, yet Nancy saw something many of us often overlook. Her simple act of kindness revealed the heart of a truly generous soul. Nancy is a homeless woman who spends all the money she collects to buy a sandwich at her local deli. The kind deli owner, Jack, who knows her well, secretly adds an extra sandwich for her to save for later. On the street, Nancy sees a hungry homeless man shivering and gives him one of her sandwiches. When she returns to the deli, Jack asks why she gave it away. Nancy replies, "Because there is always someone who has less than me." Deeply moved by her generosity, Jack gives her all the daily leftover food so Nancy can feed many others on the street. This heartwarming homeless story shows the power of compassion, kindness, and giving back, even when you have very little. Nancy's inspirational mindset teaches life lessons in empathy, selflessness, love, and the incredible impact one person can leave. A small act of kindness can make a huge difference. Two Japanese siblings walked into a children's hospital carrying something small but meaningful. What they gave the young patients would leave a lasting impact. The children's hospital felt like a world paused between hope and uncertainty. 8-year-old Katie gazed out her window while another child rested nearby. That afternoon, 2 Japanese siblings, Kaori and Hayato, arrived carrying a bag of colorful origami cranes. Hayato explained, "In Japan, there is a tradition called Senbazuru, folding 1,000 origami cranes and stringing them together. It's believed completing them can grant a wish, such as healing, long life, or good luck. We're making one for the whole hospital," Kaori added, "and every crane carries a message of hope." Each day, they folded more cranes while leaving one beside each child's bed with notes that read, "You are not alone. Get well soon and be strong today." At first, families and staff didn't understand, but soon they embraced the tradition, and the hospital filled with hope. When Katie found a pink crane reading, "We hope you feel better today," she smiled and held it close. The Senbazuru was still growing, and so was hope, because even the smallest act of kindness can brighten someone's darkest day. A stressful morning caused Richard to say something he immediately regretted. Then a stranger's simple question changed the way he treated others forever. One morning, Richard rushed into his usual coffee shop, being late and stressed. When the cashier entered the wrong order, he snapped, "Can you pay attention? It's not that hard." The line fell silent. An elderly woman behind Richard spoke up. "If you made a mistake at work, how would you want someone to speak to you?" Richard stayed quiet. The woman continued, "Don't do anything you wouldn't want done to you." Richard looked at the embarrassed cashier and felt ashamed. When his coffee arrived, he said, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way." The cashier smiled. "Thank you." Years later, Richard still remembered that life lesson. Whenever frustration rose, he asked himself, "If I were in their place, how would I want to be treated?" That simple question changed the way he treated others, and he lived by the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Be kind, always.